The modern railway in Britain celebrated its 200th birthday in 2025, and over those 2 centuries, it's always evolved, changed and adapted to better serve those who use it. Its current route length of some 9,900 miles is less than half its peak length over a century ago though. Those former route miles now have many different uses, from becoming farmland again to housing or cycle paths. But in dozens of places, tracks have been relaid as independent passenger-carrying heritage railways. In fact, in Britain, we have more heritage lines than any other country in the world. My name is Tim Dunn, and right now I'm on the train almost in Portsmouth because I'm here to find out how the mainline railway works with the heritage sector, and quite surprisingly perhaps, how and why that will benefit mainline passengers in the future. Portsmouth isn't my final destination though. I'm hopping aboard the ferry to one of my favourite and most curious parts of the South Western Railway, the 8-mile single-track route on the Isle of Wight, known as the Island Line. Now this stretch of track just here on Ryde Pier, which is a couple of metres above the sea at this point, runs all the way down through the island. It's the Island Line. And just down the line, about a couple of miles that way, is Smallbrook Junction. That's where there's a connection between the main line and a heritage railway, the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. Now, thrillingly, it's actually inaccessible by passengers by foot and even going by car. The only way to get there is by train. During the 8-month closure of Ryde Pier between October 2024 and May 2025, old infrastructure was donated to the Steam Railway for use on their track. This infrastructure may no longer be usable on the main line, but the less intense use on heritage lines means that it is still safe to be used there. And of course, that's a brilliant reuse and sustainable reuse too of old infrastructure, because that means on this line, which of course is less intensely used than over here on the main line, of course it gives a brand new life to old materials. It's a fantastic outcome for everybody. Now I'm about to head off on the train to Haven Street to meet one of the team behind the project. Ian, how much do these donated materials from Network Rail help you out here on the Isle of Wight Steam Railway?
Thank you. Well, a lot of these donated materials are reused rather than recycled here. We can actually find new homes for these materials that would otherwise just be scrapped, recycled, melted down to make other things. So a good example is the sleepers, not good enough to be used on the main lines, but they're perfectly good enough to use in sidings and other places here on the Heritage Railway.
Is it just sleepers that are coming in from Network Rail, or is it other things as well?
No, it's lots of other materials, sleepers, rails, keys, chairs. In fact, we've been expecting some ballast, used ballast, which again, not good enough for the mainline use, but we'll find a home for it.
So I'm guessing actually, this is not just a big win for, I suppose, heritage generally, but it's also quite a good environmental sort of opportunity as well, isn't it? Because you're not carting stuff back to the mainland and you're reusing stuff here on the island.
Absolutely, yes. In terms of sustainability, it's a great way of making sure that you're reusing materials rather than recycling, which is always beneficial.
But this is a two-way partnership. The main line benefits from heritage as well, with staff developing their skills on the steam railway before transferring to working on the main line. One such individual is Isaac, who started his rail career on the Isle of Wight Steam Railway as a volunteer and now works for Network Rail. So let's go back to when you were a child.
Yeah.
Where does your story with the Isle of Wight Steam Railway actually begin?
I always used to visit the steam rail on the island with grandparents and parents, and so when I got to 8, I was so keen that I eagerly dispatched my volunteer application form. I got a very courteous response telling me that although they were flattered and pleased that someone so young was so enthusiastic, that I might have to wait a little bit because they couldn't take me until I was 14. And then the day after my 14th birthday, I started at Haven Street.
What exactly do you do now on the main line?
So now work in autumn control after a period of time on the graduate scheme. So yeah, managing all of our MPVs, the multi-purpose vehicles which go out and about on the network, leaf blowing and treating the railhead to make sure that the railhead's nice and clean and we don't have adhesion incidents.
So with your experience now of working with heritage railways and the main line, how important do you think it is that generally those two work together on an ongoing basis?
I think it's invaluable. You know, personally, and many others like me, they've benefited from, you know, former professional railwaymen being involved in heritage railways, so you get the benefit of their experience, all of their advice, you get the grounding in operational principles and how to run a railway, and you get the confidence of saying, well, actually, I could do this on a smaller scale, which you can then scale up.
Now, the South Western Railway and Isle of Wight Steam Railway work together on a pretty informal basis, but at an increasing number of locations, partnership agreements between mainline and heritage lines have been formalised. And now I'm heading over to Sheffield Park Station on the Bluebell Railway to outline what that agreement means for both parties. So Lucy, do tell me, how does a heritage railway like this and partnering with them benefit Network Rail?
So it provides us a real unique opportunity to sort of celebrate the best of the past of our sector, but also provide a safe training environment for some of our teams. We operate the Brighton Main Line, very, very busy, over 3,000 trains a day, trains 24 hours a day, and so actually getting access to the infrastructure is quite difficult. So it's really great here to be able to have the opportunity to train in a safe and quieter environment for our teams.
There's always been a relationship between Network Rail with our local TOC GTR and the Bluebell Railway. What this agreement really does though is provide a focus for Network Rail and ourselves to really cooperate in a more active way. It means that we know who to call and they know who to call when we see an opportunity to cooperate, whether that's to do with training, whether it's to running events, whether it's to provide a stabling location, which is occasionally requested of us, or when we see an opportunity for something that the National Rail Network can help us with. So it's that focus that is really useful.
What do you think more widely this looks like as the future for heritage railways and Network Rail collaborating? Is this something that can be replicated elsewhere, do you think?
It absolutely is. There's a big geographic element to the rail industry and the need for training locations, for example, for testing locations. All sorts of bits of cooperation can take place all over the country. They don't really compete with one another. So I think what we've done here is a recipe that can be repeated everywhere.
Bringing heritage railways and the mainline railway closer together really does just make sense. We all run trains after all, and so much of our underlying infrastructure and equipment is so very similar. With partnerships like this, we have so very much to offer each other. But whether it's the transfer of assets, like here at the Bluebell Railway, or the transfer of skills, like Isaac as a volunteer to becoming mainline railway staff, perhaps the greatest benefit of all is actually inspiring the next generation. And that is a great legacy for Railway 200 Year. Now, on that, it's about time for me to go and catch my train.